currency, the cultural exchange of ideas of womanhood via fashion and cinema between Italy and the United States in the post-war era. In the years following World War II, Italy transformed from a war-torn and largely rural country to a nation of urban and cultural centers experiencing an economic miracle. The United States played a profound role in this transformation as it sought via Marshall Plan aid and advertising campaigns to transform Italy into a marketplace for American consumer products, including motion pictures. Italy responded in kind, seeing America as a very substantial marketplace for its products, especially fashion and motion pictures. In both cases, this marketing involved selling the idea of a national lifestyle as expressed via aesthetic style in the realms of cinema and fashion. This cultural exchange was tightly interwoven and circulated around representations of womanhood. While in Italy, images of American women portrayed pampered, naive housewives or glamorous, seductive movie stars, in the United States, Italian women were imagined as pampered, worldwide aristocrats or seductive, earthly peasants. In each case, these women represented a highly charged and eroticized other. In fashion, American style had been known primarily for sportswear dating back to the 1920s and gaining prominence in the 1930s, with labels such as White Stag, Cole of California, and the designer Claire McCardell. As did the Italians before World War II, American high fashion traditionally purchased and copied designs from Paris. However, cut off from Paris during the Nazi occupation, the American industry was forced to develop a uniquely American style which featured practicality, comfort, and simplicity. In the post-war era, Italian designers were keenly aware of this American style. Emilio Pucci, who had attended Reed College in Oregon, garnered attention for his sportswear line as early as 1947 and was featured in Harper's Bazaar for his ski wear in 1948. The American popular press of the late 1940s characterized the emerging Italian style as both aristocratic and casual. In January of 1947, Maria Manz wrote in Vogue, "The sophisticated Italian woman has at the outset two great advantages: wonderful materials and a seemingly inexhaustible pool of hand labor. The Italian woman of breeding also has a certain quality of relaxation, not unnatural since she seldom works, which endows her clothes with an easy grace and a free, uninhibited movement." Fashion historian Valerie Steele, in her study on this discourse in the popular press of that era, concludes, "If Italy was the beautiful and sexy other for Americans, the United States played a complementary role for Italians as her rich and successful cousin." In 1951, Florentine businessman Giorgini organized the first of a series of collective fashion shows to present Italian fashion to the international market, particularly favoring American buyers and press. It took place in Giorgini's own ancient palazzo to underscore the connection between Italian fashion and its artistic and aristocratic past. Yet a keen awareness of the American marketplace and its casual lifestyle is what really allowed these designers to differentiate themselves from the French and create an international stir. Steele writes, "In contrast to the opulent formality of French couture, Italian post-war fashion was characterized by an uninhibited yet sophisticated sense of style. Playful, sexy, and effervescent, Italian clothes appealed by virtue of their gay colors, imaginative surface decoration, and unconventional use of materials." Immediately after World War II, as a backlog of American films flooded into European theaters, Italian magazines such as Grazia began including editorials on Hollywood films and stars, and sometimes proposing garments seen on the screen for imitation. As the American film industry, taking advantage of lower costs and governmental subsidies, began filming more and more in Rome, American stars working in Hollywood on the Tiber began frequenting local couture houses and being photographed in Italian creations. Sorella Fontana, or the Fontana sisters, were particularly popular with American actresses, such as Loretta Young, Myrna Loy, Merle Oberon, and Elizabeth Taylor, from as early as 1946. American high society followed in the wake of the film stars, as Jackie Kennedy and Margaret Truman made highly notable appearances in Fontana gowns. The Fontana gowns favored by the American stars were similar in silhouette to Parisian high fashion gowns of the time. However, the Italian gowns differentiated themselves in surface decoration, drawing on traditional Italian crafts in beading, embroidery, and fabric. Fashion historian Nicola White observes, these glittering Italian designs fitted neatly into the idea of American glamour, expressed by Hollywood movies since the interwar period. Beginning in 1949, Nicole Fontana made frequent trips to the United States to publicize Fontana fashions at society events. She kept diaries of what she noted of American women and their lifestyle, so as to tailor designs to this market. Fontana designed all of Ava Gardner's wardrobe for the 1954 release, The Barefoot Contessa, beginning a long-term collaboration between Starr and Couture House. This cassock dress, designed for Gardner as part of Fontana's 1956 Cardinale collection, caused a minor scandal in Catholic Italy as it dressed a Hollywood star known for her seductive beauty in overtly religious overtones. For Federico Fellini's La Dolce Vita, designer Piero Gherardi copied many of the Fontana fashions made familiar in photographs by American stars for Anita Ekberg to wear as the character Sylvia, an iconic representation of an American movie star, which, by the 1960s, was visually identifiable to Italian audiences as a platinum blonde whose buxom, larger-than-life figure was accentuated by Italian fashions. This sort of hall of mirror of fashions worked in both directions. American designer Edith Head designed Audrey Hepburn's wardrobe for the 1953 release Roman Holiday as an iconic representation of the casual elegance of Roman style. Hepburn wore Fontana the following year when marrying Mel Ferrar. Head also designed Sophia Loren's wardrobe of curvaceous gowns for the 1958 release Houseboat. By 1958, the icon of Italian womanhood was, for American audiences, a buxom, larger-than-life dark beauty whose figure was accentuated by American fashions. Just how integral fashion was to an Italian star's image as part of her marketing to the American audience is exemplified by the 1954 Life magazine cover story on Gina Lollobrigida entitled A Star's Wardrobe. Her designer of choice was the Italian Emilio Schubert, also favored by Sophia Loren. While this discourse on American and Italian women took place in the popular press from the late 1940s, Italian neo-realist cinema was also gaining international and particularly American attention. If the fashion industry presented an image of Italian women as sophisticated, elegant, casual, and uninhibited, the women of neo-realism were essentially peasants without makeup or fashion. They were beyond casual and repeatedly described as earthy. Anna Magnani embodied the stereotype of Italian womanhood for American audiences as tousled, voluptuous, unbridled sexuality. Sophia Loren had first captured the American attention as an earthy Italian, appearing not only tousled but provocatively soaking wet in Jean Migliesco's runaway production Voyons Adolphe in 1957. At the same time, Hollywood stars appeared in Italian films by neo-realist directors, notably Ingrid Bergman in a series of films for Rossellini and Jennifer Jones in Indiscretions of an American Wife for Vittorio De Sica. Their characters typify American wives as attractive, well-meaning women who are dangerously idle, romantic, and above all naive, matured versions of Daisy Miller. These representations of Italian and American womanhood had become so deeply ingrained in the popular discourse that by 1956, an entire episode of I Love Lucy could easily spoof this phenomenon of cultural exchange, taking for granted that it was familiar territory in American living rooms. In Lucy's Italian movie, which aired April 16, 1956, Lucy is noticed traveling on the train by a famous Italian movie director, Vittorio Felipe, and offered a part in his next movie. She immediately gets into character, you can see there on the lower right. She begins researching her role and the proposed film itself by turning to the Italian popular press, which features an article on Felipe, and a spread on Italian actresses that causes every man who sees it, including the bellboy, to exclaim and gape, confirming Italian women as overtly sexual in contrast to the American Lucy and Ethel. As the proposed film is entitled Bitter Grapes, with a nod to Giuseppe De Santis' Bitter Rice, Lucy decides to get into character by working at a winery. She arrives dressed in an American fashion cliché of Italian peasant style, there on the left. And the Italian women respond by calling on their own stereotypes of Americans. I don't know if you can read it, but it says, Ingrid Bergman, it ain't, right? And I think you know what happens after that, but the final punchline of the episode is that Felipe does not want Lucy to play, of course, an Italian peasant woman, but instead a typical American tourist, as frequently depicted by American actresses in neo-realist films. So instead he casts Ethel. In conclusion, I have provided here merely a sampling of the dense exchange of representations of nationality and womanhood between Italy and the United States during the flurry of consumerist exchange in the post-war era. These images express a complex matrix of desire, exchange, and morality, embodied as ever in the form of woman.